everybody, Moby Nick, Silver Salmon Challenge. We're still plugging away out here in Cobourg, Ontario, and yeah, the winners keep strolling through. We're lucky enough to sit down here with Brian Byerley. He was our week 4 winner with the 3108, and that was an exciting fish. You know, that was one of the first TYEEs that came through the system, so really nice to meet you. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, it was a slow day for me. I went to Whitby, and I launched about 5 in the morning. I got out there, rods ready, 5:30, and not a hit, nothing, just stale. And I thought, you know, maybe I made a big mistake by coming here. And I had my first release around 8:30. It was about a 12-pound king, and then nothing. Started getting warm. I just put the boat in autopilot, started heading towards Oshawa, and out of nowhere, around 10:30, I had a smash on the Dipsy, and then away it went.
Away it went, that's for sure. And you know, it's funny, you almost have that day documented. You know, that's what salmon fishing does, right? Like, it helps us. It's funny. Yeah, I don't know how many other things in the world we can relate to that schedule-wise like that, but it's something about salmon fishing that does that, right?
Well, it's been 4 seasons for me fishing, and I'm still yet to hit the TYEE. And I question myself every year, is there something I'm doing wrong? Am I fishing the wrong way? Am I fishing the wrong depth? Like, where are these fish, and why can't I catch one? So that was my day, and I was pretty happy about it.
Well, I got to tell you, I don't think everyone would accept that phrase so easy, because there's a lot of people that have been trucking, some for a lifetime without hitting a TYEE. But you know, as we chatted there a bit, it sounds like yes, you're only 4 years in, but you came with some good mentorship too, right? Like, obviously growing up north, but you learn quick, obviously, to get to where you are.
Yeah, I learned quick. Aaron Shirley really gave me a speed pass on how to be like a semi-pro fisherman. So pretty much I owe everything I've learned to him. Do you know what I mean? Because he's pulled me through there pretty good and taught me everything I know. So to
the point where you're giving him half the check, or?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No. I know Aaron very well, and he is a great face of the community that does a lot, and very knowledgeable. And no, I could see why you're at where you are if you followed along his ropes.
Yeah. He taught me everything I know. He's a great guy. He's done a lot for me.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So 4 years. I doubt you're new to fishing. So where did your roots kind of come from in angling?
So I grew up in Thunder Bay, and we started off as kids fishing perch and walleye. So we were probably out at the young age of 6 with the old Shakespeare and the Zebco clicker caster, right? You know what I mean, on the shoreline. And then we grew up pretty fast, and then it evolved into steelheading on Lake Superior to all the tribs, and then speck fishing on Lake Nipigon. And then we slowly started to dial it in and get a fishing program up there. We have a pretty good, we usually do 2 trips a year. We do a Lake Nipigon in the spring for spring brookies, and then we do a Jackfish River in the fall for walleye and pike.
Wow, so you are obviously an avid angler. And
yes,
is salmon become the new favorite, or is that just while you're down this way to fill the void?
You know, salmon, it's a different style of fishing. Okay, there's some long days out there. You put the time in, you get them, but once you hook into a big one, it's well worth it. Right, it's just a different style. Like, you could go bang 100 walleye in a day, but catching a 25, 30-pound salmon, nothing beats it.
No, I agree. No. And just speaking with a few of our other anglers here, I'm yet to pinpoint it, but there is something very unique and special about salmon fishing, isn't there?
There is, most definitely, yeah.
Let's touch on what boat do you fish out of then? What are you running?
I have a 1725 Lund Pro Guide tiller with a 75 Merc on the back. And I have that outrigged with 2 Canon downriggers, and I have a 22-inch custom bar made by Trojan Dave, and he does all the fabrication in his garage, and he customs the tubes and everything and makes all the aluminum and risers. So he outfitted my boat, and I met him through Aaron. Okay. And then basically I just run 2 rods when I'm by myself, 1 Dipsy, 1 rigger. And then if my go-to spread is just 2 Dipsies, 2 riggers if I'm out.
Very cool. So I mean, when you say tiller, and I know we chatted about it earlier, my mind kind of goes to small lake, small fishing. But the way the boat's rigged out, it sounds like you're dialed for Lake Ontario with this boat, yeah?
Yeah, so when you set your boat up for trolling on Lake Ontario with the tiller, what you do is you throttle lock the big motor at whatever speed you desire, and then you lock your motor so that it stays straight, and then you drop your trolling motor and basically steer the boat with the trolling motor. So while you're setting up, I usually put it on autopilot so that I have hands free and the boat staying straight while I set my lines.
Wow, that's good. You know,
Yeah.
honestly, I think a lot of people are somewhat a bit intimidated by the big water, the big lakes. They might not venture out in those boats, but you pick your days. We're not going out in 18 knots out of the east, but other than that, it handles well, yeah?
Yeah, that's right. You got to pay attention to the winds. That's a big factor, and it plays in part too. It depends on what shoreline, right? The wind factor, you could go South Shore, North Shore, it all depends on where you're going to launch. Like I live in Toronto, so I have the luxury of going all the way to Niagara or all the way out to Whitby, so,
Very good, man. I appreciate you getting in depth on that, because I believe, a lot of people, like I said, are intimidated to get into the salmon fishery, but I don't think they should be, because this incredible fishery, and you just got to watch your days, right?
Yeah, that's it, yeah. I'm out every weekend.
Yeah?
There's not much that slows me down, yeah.
No, that's incredible. So I will say that one day, before we got wind of that, there was a video circulating. I guess that was the fish in the boga. Is that kind of when you got the weight?
Yeah. That was the boga, yeah. So I've never seen a 30-pounder, but when I got that fish in the net and I put it in the boat, I said to myself, that has to be a TYEE. It has to be. If a TYEE looks like anything, it looks like that. But it was hard for me because I'm fishing by myself, and it did rip the dipsy, and I got a 15-foot lead behind. So every time I bring that fish to the back of the boat, I have to hand line him in, and I still have my rigger down, and he wants to dive into it. So it took me about an hour of tug of war, pull him in, let him go, pull him in, let him go, and finally I tugged him around for about an hour before he let me put him in the net, and then I pulled him in and I went to scoop him, and my net was too small. He wouldn't fold. I just bounced him off. I almost lost him. My heart was pounding. So I had to recoup, think, how am I going to get this thing in the net? So I had to hand line him in as quick as I could and then dip him in one foul swoop. So it was pretty, it was something, all right.
I've just put myself in that situation, man. I don't know if I'd come out on top, because that's nerve-wracking, right?
It was a lot. It was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot for me, yeah.
And especially for a TYEE at that, geez, that's awesome. And yeah, just your voice in that video, I think a lot of the angling community can resonate with that, because it is pure excitement, right?
It was. I was on a high probably all week. Words couldn't explain. For the rest of the day, I didn't even fish. I just went back out into the lake and I just sat there and floated around.
Oh, good for you, man. Yeah. I really appreciate you sharing that side of that, because I think a lot of guys can resonate. They might not have got to that size of fish that you've reached already, but incredible story, and just shows everyone out there. I mean, don't get me wrong, this guy knows what he's doing, but it doesn't mean you can't get out there and fish no matter what, right?
It's 20% skill, 80% luck. You got to be at the right place at the right time.
And I think you mentioned that was just one or two bites that day, right?
2 bites, yeah, and it was a slow day. I thought I made a mistake. I thought I chose the wrong port. I was questioning all morning why I went there. And sure enough, it was odd too, because the bite happened at like 10:30. It was just an odd
Very
time.
odd, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was during a minor, but still odd time. Second bite, it was slow.
Well, whatever that led you to Whitby that day led you to here today. So that was incredible. I appreciate your story and your time.
Thank you.
Really nice meeting you. Thank you.
Appreciate it.